All right, you groovy grasshoppers. Here it is. It's this golden hour everybody waits for. They want to see, okay, is he having the shirt on, or is it like what, is he showing show? How much more of a tan does he have? The great Mark Puttenvik. How are you?
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
Good. Looking sharp. Look at the tan on you, Mr. Golden Brown. Wow.
Yeah, well, suspicious genetics. Let's just leave
So
it
what
at
goes on in your thought process? Like, okay, should I put a shirt on or not put a shirt on? What makes that decision happen?
For this particular hour of the week?
Yeah. Just for this show. Yes, I'm sorry.
Depends what I just got done doing. So if I just got done working out.
Sweaty.
Yeah. So I'll keep the shirt on.
You get pumped up too. You don't want to show off too much muscle, right?
Yeah, well, it's just like, if you know you're going to go, like when you're a kid on a date, you go to the gym, you get all jacked up, then you pick her up, and you've already deflated, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's a good point. So Mark Puttenvik, in case anybody doesn't know, has got a company called Patriot Training Systems. A fantastic gentleman. Does a lot of stuff for youth, for military. Fantastic trainer. Knows a lot of stuff. I've learned a lot from Mark. So I was telling you and Beth before the show started, I don't know if I've announced this to anybody. So I got an experiment going on, and I know you feel the same way, the power of the mind, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's actually, so I'll tell you what I'm up to first. So I made a decision not going to use the air conditioning all summer long. So there's no dog here, no kids, no wife, obviously. So it's just me toughing it out. So I got a little fan that I carry around with me, toughing it out, sit outside a lot. You know what? Honest to God, it's just, it's like anything else, right? There's an old buddy of mine, this Rich Gabberty. I know we started to do a show on Thursday. He coached up the Westchester Mariners. Great guy.
Oh, yeah. I was watching a bit of that.
Yeah, and he's really gotten into the same stuff that we're doing, helping other people and everything. And he told about a guy, Joe, you may know the guy, Gillespie or something. Some guy, he's in the motivational world now. He had gotten in a bike accident, was paralyzed. And apparently was told that he would never walk again and may never move again. So he just, through his mind, he told himself, no, I'm going to walk again. And he walked. And if somebody had told me that story like 5 years ago, I would have said, yeah, right. I believe so much in the power of the mind.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. There's a famous story. It was, his name escapes me. It was a Vietnam era. And he got he got hurt in Vietnam, and he was in I forget the name of the hospital, military hospital in Texas. And they told him, you're never going to walk. And he would wait at night till all the nurses had left his room, and he would literally work his way to the edge of the bed, fall to the floor in excruciating pain. And you know what? He walked.
Yeah.
Walked again. He walked so much he went back in country, went back to Vietnam.
Oh, it's Harvard, did he?
The Medal of Honor winner. I forget his name, but he's a speaker as well. Yeah.
I just, I think to myself, I've learned so much more. You've helped me learn a lot of things. I just feel like, you know what, this is another. I just feel like you can strengthen your mind by doing something like what I'm doing with the air conditioner. I just say to myself, nope, I'm not hot. And
there's I guess Oprah put out that a while back, the book, The Secret, like if you put it out in the universe, it's going to come back to you. I don't know if that's entirely true. Cause I could wish to be the 7-foot center of the New York Knicks. Never going to happen.
Yeah.
However, when I look back at my life, and I didn't do things probably the way I should have done in terms of education and formal education. My education, I just taught myself. I'm a high school graduate. I went to a couple of semesters of college. That was it. And the point is, if you had told me when I was, I don't know, even 20 some odd years old, that I would be to where I got to be. And not that I've done so many great things, but I think a lot of it is just, you got to want it. Yeah. And you got to make it happen.
You got to show up every day, right?
You got to show up every day. And I told my boys, I said, listen, door's going to open. Just be prepared. Don't go in not prepared, because then you're at a loss. So
I know. I like to call it a thoroughly blissful ignorance. Just go. Show up, put your feet in the ground, go. And I found myself when I've overthought things or whatever, it's just I would never have done anything that I've done. I just always put that down. So Ron James, buddy up in Buffalo, how you doing, bud? Where's your other t-shirt? So I did a show this morning with Kevin Allen.
Yeah, I saw.
I had my workout shirt on still, so I had not showered yet. So yes.
So Barry Shelley had commented on your shirt.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But Tom, one of the things I'm trying to self-regulate. Sometimes I get caught up in it, like I don't really want to do that. It's a real pain in the ass. I'll give you a perfect example. So I think you and I spoke about this, and I discovered my birth family, or they discovered me. And in that process, I have a half sister that lives in Tampa, Florida, and her husband is from up here. Well, she was up here too, but anyhow. And she contacted me. She said, hey, my husband's nephew would like to learn how to box. He's 13 years old and he's a left-hander. And I'm like, yeah. How much more can I take on? And I said, okay, so meet me at the gym Saturday, last Saturday, not the other day, but anyhow. And it was kind of all week like, why did I commit to this? Saturday morning. Long story short, I got there. Kid's tremendous. Mother's tremendous. And I'm thinking, you know what? Shut up. You know what? This is great. You're helping out this young man. And he's smiling. His mother, they're pumping it all on social media, how great it is. And I'm thinking, why would I have deprived, not that I'm so great, but give him an opportunity to discover something. Yeah.
Isn't that true?
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you the story, but when I first moved into my condo here, it's probably 3 or 4 years ago, can't remember what it was. A really nice family from South Africa, actually, moved in. Young kids, and they were outside playing. And it's a condominium complex, right? So there's all these open areas, parking lots, and lawns and all that. And they're outside playing right in front of my door. There's about 5 dads monitoring the kids, and they're playing. I don't know what got into me because I was in a bad mood or something because they're making noise in front of my. So I said to the dads, I went to the door, said to the dads, I said, do they have to play right here? And I was a jerk about it too, And the dads were, I think they knew who I was. They're a little bit intimidated or whatever. So they were like, well, we'll move. We don't have to move, but we'll move. So the kids moved. So, okay, I don't think too much of it. A couple of days go by. The one little boy from the South African family was outside playing. His father was in the background about 30 feet away, and I was walking by. And I really forgot about the whole incident. And the boy looked up to me and says, oh, I know who you are. You're the man who made us leave, made us move.
How'd that
I
make
felt
you
like
feel?
the biggest jerk on the planet. This cute little kid, and that's all he remembered about me. Right. And I realized, at that point, I realized what I'd done. Now, the father's watching this interaction with myself and the boy, and I said, you know what, son? I was totally wrong. You can play wherever you want to play. I apologize for saying that to you. So now the father, he goes from thinking I'm a jerk. Now he thinks I'm the greatest guy on the planet because I apologized. I never should have said it in the first place, but that's it. And the mother came up to me time later. She says, oh, you're just so wonderful. I felt like an idiot because they think I'm wonderful.
You know what, though? We're all capable of making mistakes, but just as much as we're capable of making a mistake, we can work to rectify it. And that's what you did.
Yeah, I know. But it was funny. And I felt like, and because I felt so bad, like the kids would shovel my sidewalk. They didn't have to, but they'd be outside with their toy shovels. So I'd give them $1 or whatever. So because I felt so bad. Now it's everything I did with the boys. Then they just felt like, oh, he's so wonderful, And they were a great family.
How many times, and whether it's teammates or something, when you're on a new team or environment, and you look across from them, you go, I don't like that guy, and you don't even know why.
Yeah,
you don't even know why, and then you find out that dude's ends up being your best friend or whatever.
100%.
Right? Yeah.
I was on a train. Go ahead. Finish up.
No, I was just going to say 2 quick stories. So I think I mentioned this before. CENTCOM director during Enduring Freedom was Tommy Brooks, big time guy. His first job as an officer, he was a lieutenant colonel. He was in Germany. It was right at the tail end of Vietnam. So the guys were cycling through after they went to Vietnam to this, and he had a nuclear detachment, right? Mobile. Morale was horrible because it's the end of the war. Guys are doing drugs and not dressing and letting their hair grow. So he gets a kid come in, and the kid walks into his office and he doesn't salute. So General Frank says, what's the problem, son? So I'll tell you what the problem is you and your army. And he said, what are you talking about? He said, well, my mom died, and I asked to be sent home for the funeral, and you and your army wouldn't allow me. Then my brother got stabbed because he's from the city, was killed, 12-year-old, and your army wouldn't let me go home. So you can take your army and you know where to put it. With that, Tommy Frank stood up, and he was a pretty big guy, put his arm around the kid. Now, this is a lieutenant colonel, and he says, son, that's my fault. That's my fault. And what he said to himself is, from that point moving forward, everybody under his command, he would read their file just so he knows what's going on. It's a lot to do. Yeah. So now, juxtaposed to Vancouver Canucks, I forget the assistant coach up there. And what they do, I don't know if they're still doing it, but what they were doing in training camp, everybody wrote a 2-paragraph biography. Because maybe that guy across the room that you see, like I just want to punch this guy, I don't know why. You find out he has the same interest in bass fishing as you do. Sure. And you make a connection. And that's another way to build up team building camaraderie. Yeah. We don't like what we don't know, right?
Totally. I'll never forget this 2 years ago. I was on the train coming out of Manhattan, and train was pretty full. And this young guy was sitting there, he's got the baseball cap on with the flat brim, looking like a rapper and all, the colored shoes and the whole bit. And I'm judging him totally. I'm thinking this guy's a punk. There's no question. And train starts getting more and more full every stop we get to. This elderly lady got on the train, and I was sitting down, and I thought, okay, I'm going to get up and move. But before I could get up and move, this kid that I thought was the punk got up, went to the elderly lady, escorted her back to his chair. I'm looking at him, and I had to go say something to him. I said, "Listen, I apologize because I was looking at you thinking you're a punk, and you're just this fantastic kid."
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing how and that's prejudice. I mean, that's prejudging. We look at someone just based upon the way they dress or with the way they look, or and it's unfortunate, but it's human nature. And I guess the thing is just be aware of it and try to self-correct, because we are all guilty of it. I mean, I know I am for sure.
Yeah, it is true. And you talk about prejudice in it too. I do that show with that Jackie Long, and you may have known this already. I wasn't aware of it, but she was saying how some people have different numbers, but those years from 0 to 7 or 0 to 8 years old are these very formative years where kids aren't born being prejudiced or anything like that. In fact, I've seen some fantastic videos and pictures of a small black child and small white child hugging each other. They don't.
It's a learned thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's interesting because I had a fighter, Richard. I'll use it. Richard Pearson, great guy, really good fighter. He'd have been a world champion, but he got into the game a little late and had some really bad management. They were using him as a stepping stone. He kept knocking out the guys that were supposed to be the prospects. Then he couldn't get fights. Somebody, he went to training camp as a sparring partner, ended up messing up 2 world champions. So we were sitting in the gym after working out one day. And he said to me, "You know what, Mark? Your life is 7 years out of clip." I go, "What do you mean, Richard?"
Says, you told about this. Yeah.
And you think about it, because when you're 7 years old, you're not who you are when you're 14. It's a big difference. And then when you're 21, you're not who you were when you're, and so on and so forth. Yeah. And I said, "You know what?
Sure.
You're right, Richard."
I remember you told me that before, and I went and thought about it. It's very accurate. Yeah.
I mean, even now, I'm not who I was even 10 years ago.
Definitely. Yeah. But it's still the same. If we had somebody that I played with, 30 years ago, I still have this opinion of him from that 30-year period. But you said it's accurate that, again, I'm not the same guy I was back then. So why would he be the same guy? Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It is interesting, our prejudice, right, that get built in. And I know we want to eliminate racism and all that kind of stuff. But I think really eliminate the thought process, can you?
Yeah. I did some studying, and the guy, it was a tactical thing, but he was talking about survival instincts. We have survival instincts. And one of them, for instance, is if you and I are having this conversation like we are now, and it was a loud explosion, both of us are in a lower center of gravity and look to where it is. It's a survival instinct. We can't control that. I think prejudice or prejudging is a survival instinct because we have a certain innate fear of people we don't have a recognition with.
Right. Or you hear stories about crimes.
Or just their appearance. Just like you said, you looked at the kid who you thought was a punk, but it turned out he wasn't. It was just that's the way he chose to dress. But I think it's a survival instinct where we see something that we're not familiar with, we get a little bit on our heels.
Yeah, totally.
And then that's not to say that it's an excuse. I think it's just an instinct. And to be aware of it maybe helps or does help for sure.
Ron, I didn't realize you were Native American. As a Native American, grew up with plenty of prejudices. I was different than the others.
Well, Ron, the only I sent Tom a picture of Dale Purinton and Sandy McCarthy. They got together. They were water skiing and stuff. And Dale was in New York when I was there, and it was an early morning. I was at the pregame skate, getting my room ready, and there's a guy at the door, and he was dressed down, and he had an air cast on his left foot, and he didn't have any teeth. I think, he must be a maintenance guy here. It was Gino Ochik.
Oh.
It was Gino, and he was looking for Sandy McCarthy. They played junior together up at Laval. So I said, he'll be in a little while, right? So he hobbles down the hallway. He doesn't skate in the morning skate. We're going out on the ice, and he's like, Montreal's going out. And there's Gino. I look at Dale and go, this guy's had an air cast. He goes, Mark, he's not on the IR. He's on the Indian reservation. Because Gino is Objoa. Objoa, am I saying that right?
That's right, yes.
Yeah, Ron, correct me if I'm mispronouncing it. Objoa.
Yeah. I learned. Remember Reggie Leach, the great player who played for the Flyers?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Flin Flon Bombers.
So years ago, I got in touch with him for something. I think it was some business deal or whatever. And I was totally unaware. And I used wrongly, and I apologize for used the word Indian. And he was fantastic. He stopped me. He goes, Tom, I do need to make sure you understand that's a very derogatory term. And I just haven't grown up. Now he explained the whole situation to me in Native American. It just makes much more sense now. So, yeah.
So Gino does a lot of work with hockey in Native community.
Yeah.
Gino Ochik. Yeah. A lot of guys. I know Jordan Tutu is very active in his community.
Didn't Joe Juno do stuff like he's a very intelligent guy. He's native.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in fact, I think Sandy is. I think no, I'm wrong. Sandy's black and Irish. I thought he might have been native and Irish. I might be wrong.
What's your nationality again? What's your name?
So, I mean, my last name is Dutch, but I was adopted, and my birth mother was like just Irish and English and whatever, and my birth father was Cuban and Venezuelan. So that's why I get like this. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Who's the only Venezuelan to play in the National Hockey League? Let's see if anybody out there you can get it.
Oh, Rick Chartrand, born in Venezuela.
There was another one.
Oh,
I think it was Venezuela. Yeah, you ran up against him. He was a big man. He could play, and he was Willie Plett.
Venezuelan. I don't know.
Yeah, I think his parents were working down there. Like he was. I'm pretty sure it was him. Yeah, Willie Plett.
So there's another guy other than Rick Chartrand? I played against him?
I'm pretty sure. Willie Plett, yeah. Did you play against Willie Plett?
Yes, I played against Willie Plett.
Atlanta, yeah.
He was a big man. Oh, he was
big
like a
dude.
Oh, God.
He was a monster.
He was one of those guys.
He was a pretty good hockey player.
Yeah, he could play, yeah. So when I first turned pro, the Calgary Corral was still the Calgary Flames current stadium. What is it? Saddledome was not built yet. So they played in the Calgary Corral. And the Corral had these high boards, higher than normal, and it was like cement.
Yes, I remember.
And their team had like Willie Plett, Kenny Houston, all
Lysiak.
Oh,
big team there. Jamie McCowan.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But I remember you're right. Yeah, like I'm looking at the boards when I'm watching. Yeah, it's up the guy's shoulders. What the hell's going on?
Rod Langway, born in Thailand. I did not know that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Billy Contradic is good for something. How about that?
Yeah.
Billy's always picking on me. Billy's like, I don't know what I've done to him. I've just been a total gentleman to him.
You know what it is? It's a sign of love.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
He's always sucking up to you.
Well, I pay him well. Did you get the check this week, Will? I just want to follow up on that.
Yes. Yes.
No, I was going to say, I didn't think of this, but guys are going to the Florida Panthers. You know why? No tax.
State tax, so I know. Yeah.
There's no tax. And I think Calgary's really crazy with taxes, right?
Yeah. 50% of all the Canadian cities, your 50% of your paycheck is gone. Yeah.
But I think also the COVID restrictions are really, really still tight in Calgary. I think the guys were done with that too.
Yeah. Totally. You obviously talk about Kachuk there that got traded. Didn't want to sign Goudreau as well. Didn't want to re-sign there. Calgary is a beautiful city though too. But financially for these guys that are making $8, $9, $10 million a year, the tax difference is a lot of money.
Yeah, it doesn't last forever.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, and then the problem with we were talking about this morning. The problem with Calgary, they pick up from Florida Jonathan Huberdeau, who was a free agent at the end of next year as well. So they're right back in the same position as him.
They're going to lose him or pay him a big ticket.
But that's the problem. That if that keeps happening to the teams like the Calgary Flames, it's funny. It used to be like that. Well, Winnipeg is still a tough city. I mean, the problem is with a lot of guys, different things, right? Let's say a guy is Canadian, he goes down to L.A., meets a girl from L.A. and marries her. Mm-hmm. Then he gets traded to the Winnipeg Jets. He said, honey, we're not hanging down at Redondo Beach anymore. We're going up to Winnipeg.
Who's the kid that just was on his honeymoon and got a text that he got traded to Seattle?
Was there?
Yeah, I want to say the kid's from Columbus. He just got married. I think he just signed a new deal or whatever, and then he's on his honeymoon and he goes, we're moving to Seattle. He just bought a home. So, yeah, it was Columbus. He just bought a home in Ohio. And he went on a honeymoon. He was like, well, we're going to have to sell that house. Yeah, that's the business. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, I get traded. That is a tough thing, because, listen, it's a business. And we're getting paid a lot of money, living out a dream, so there's no complaints about it. You understand that can happen. But that's one thing that people kind of overlook is the family side of it too, right? That
sure.
Particularly if a woman's from Columbus in that case, and now she's got to move. Seattle's still a beautiful city, but
or you got kids in school and they have all their friends and everything.
Yeah, very true. And so you see those guys that get traded all the time that have families. The kids are moving around from school to school. It's a tough one, yeah. Tough one. How are you doing with your muscle there? What's your
yeah, I went 2 weeks ago. I had the ultrasound done, and then I saw they didn't see anything, which is good. And then I went to my orthopedic, and he did an X-ray. And, very arthritic and back, but I expected that much. And I just called this morning because I'm going to need an MRI because it's not any better. Like I'm fine, and then I'll get up to walk to the sink. I'm like, in pain, like a lot.
Is that right?
It's like when you're standing still, you feel like you just took a shot to the nuts.
Right.
When you're standing
So
up.
is it sports hernia?
Yeah.
So what do you think?
So it's kind of
Sports hernia?
well, we'll find out because the MRI will show ligaments. Yeah, they call it. So what it is, there's a ligament that goes from your pubic bone up to your hip and kind of wraps around the back. If that gets inflamed, like so, we've all torn groins, right? We've all, right. And I maybe speaking out of school, but I think that feeling we get is we injure that ligament, and if you don't address the issue, then it'll require surgery. And I would like to avoid surgery. If I need it, I need it, but I'm hoping I can avoid it, either through some kind of PT or something.
What is this? Is it psoas?
Iliopsoas. Yeah, it's iliopsoas band. It wraps pretty much around from your groin all the way around your back. That is.
So I was out in LA and I hurt my back. So we went for treatment. They were trying everything, and this young girl, the therapist, she's going to massage the psoas, but she's got to dig in oh my God.
Yeah, that's she may have been doing ART, which is active release therapy.
Yeah.
And I had pulled the left groin so bad that 2 weeks later there was a big purple and black spot. The blood came up to the surface.
Right.
And I was very lucky because I was with the Rangers. We were in Florida, and they had a guy that was doing ART. So after the morning skate, the trainer, I forget the trainer's name in Florida, nice guy, goes, go see him. And he worked on me. And I said to him, when can I skate? I thought he was going to say 4 weeks. He goes, skate today, just go easy. I go, really? And I did. And he worked. He didn't even go where the groin was. He went to the gluteus minimus and worked there. And he dug in there. And he said, what happens is when you're on 1/8 of an inch of steel, your gluteus minimus fatigues. And when that fatigues, there's a breakdown, and then your groin goes. Yeah. So it kind of made sense.
Out in LA, when we went for therapy, we'd go to a place that was open to the public. And I shouldn't say open to the public, other athletes, professional athletes there. And there was a surfer that was there. And I guess he was a famous surfer. I didn't remember who he was. So he was getting, put the stim on, where they wrap you around, and the shock treatment's kind of shocking, and they can adjust how hard it is. So we have like 5 or 6 guys from the team, from the Kings, are all in there. And we're all we're walking around, hitting each other and acting stupid, just like little kids, right? So we find this thing where we would go over to the surfer. One guy would distract him, start talking to him. The other guy would go crank up the stim machine. And he was almost crying. Why did you guys do that to me? We kind of felt bad in some way, but the other part was funny, because he was because we were doing all that stuff.
You're not gonna kill him.
Yeah. Oh, stupid stuff.
Love it.
Yeah, I remember Don Mattingly was in there a few times.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. He was playing for the Dodgers back then. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, God, I can't remember the name of the doctor out there. Great guy too. He finally said to me with my back, and I was an idiot. We've talked about this before. Like now, I've learned so much more about exercising my core and stretching and everything. If I'd done all that stuff before, first of all, I don't think I would have gotten a bad back, and I would have recovered from it much more quickly. But he finally said to me, Tom, you got to do. We've tried everything. They had shots and the whole bit. And the worst part with that too was that. Is the mental part too, because I'd always been a guy that played all the time and everything, and all of a sudden now this back, and I'd probably like your muscle there. Like I would walk around, nothing, it didn't bother me. I go out skate, my leg would go numb, the back would stiffen up. So everybody's looking at you like, what the hell's wrong with you? So it's
how is it now?
Oh, 100%. Since I've worked the core. It doesn't, even if I get a little twinge or something like that, like in the past, it would like, oh God, it's going to be bad for a couple of days now. It's fine. It's amazing because, I do good mornings in the morning, and people, I do videos of that, and people like, it makes me, part of it makes me mad. I just didn't know any better. Actually, I think I've told you a story about his great coach, Rick Wilson. Rick had been a player with Montreal Canadiens, suffered from a bad back as well. Fantastic coach, great guy. I think he's back in Dallas again coaching. And he'd skate around with me before practice, and he'd go, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. You got to change, Tom. You got to change. And I had that mentality that, nope, this is the way I've got to the National Hockey League. This is the way I played my whole career. I'm not getting on the trainer's table. I'll just have a beer. That's it. And I haven't seen him in a while, but I've always had to say to him, like, kind of apologize to him, because he knew exactly what was going on in my mind. Sure. And I just wasn't going to change it. So, yeah.
Did he spell his name R-I-K? Is that the same Rick?
No,
Wilson?
That's a different Rick Wilson. There was a Rick. He actually played for the Kings before I was there, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's pretty good memory there. Putsy.
Who said that?
Yeah. That's true. Do you believe, we're talking about the mind, do you believe as you get old, you naturally just lose memory little bit.
If you allow it.
What's that?
So if you allow it. So I think there's going to be certain things you can't prevent entirely. But one of the reasons I really like, this new passion I have with the Filipino martial arts and boxing, but passion is still there for that, and hockey to a great extent, is you're using both sides of your body. You're using both hands. And in addition to that, Tom, I'm learning something. Like when I walk into see Royce, I never leave that building without learning something I didn't know when I walked in the building. Yeah. I think it's really important to just keep learning, and whatever your hobbies are, keep doing them. Yeah, I've noticed, looking back through time, like some of my older relatives, they all, even when they retired, they did something to stay busy, keep their mind active.
Totally.
And
even playing those word games on computers or whatever.
100%. I do the word jumble every day.
Yeah, I do wordscapes and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I agree.
Scrabble's tough. I've been trying to do Scrabble.
Scrabble, yeah. I'd say that's why, like, I know people are laughing about the no air conditioning thing, but because I believe
it's a challenge.
I'm saying to myself, no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm just not giving in to the air conditioning. Yeah. But
now, my parents played Scrabble right to the end, and it got contentious with it. The big dictionary out. That's not a word, and they'd fight over it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, they played right there. And my dad was sharp as a tack right till his last breath. My mom had a brain injury and she was a little different after that, but my dad was sharp as a tack right to the end.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think even my father had dementia when he passed away. Mm-hmm. And he he was a hardworking man all the time, but near the end, I think he kind of just settled into life and really wasn't doing much more. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I do believe, like you said, if you're staying active and doing things all the time, you can fight off.
You got to keep going. My mom's dad was right off the boat from Italy. He lived to be 98. He had a business. He had a machine shop in Patterson, New Jersey. Sold that. He bought a chicken farm up here in Mahwah, ironically, pretty close to where I live. And he lived to be 98, but he was out there every day working on the farm, right to the bitter end too. So there's a lot to be said for that, Tom, for sure. And being physically active is incredibly important.
I agree.
If you don't have proper blood flow, your organs aren't healthy, your brain isn't healthy.
Right. The food you eat, exercise.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Keeping fat off. It's just so much harder for your body to function.
Maybe next week I'll go over. I got this new pack of supplements. One is Irish sea moss.
I use that every day.
The other one is black seed oil. And these are supposed to be really good anti-inflammatories because I'm trying to, like you, it's not just a groin, my shoulders, this and that. I'm trying to really bring down the inflammation in my body.
Well, I use that sea moss every day.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, and I put it in my smoothies. I had a trainer, a woman. I met her. She was from the Caribbean, someplace, and she was like, "You haven't heard of sea moss?" Like it's just, I guess she washed her face with it. Of course, she told me that it helps your libido, so of course I'm going to use it. It's just she's giving me all these. Apparently, it's got all these things that it does for your body. And then she was listing them all off. And by the way, it helps your libido. I said, "Okay, let's go.
We're in."
Yeah, get a gallon jug there. And
does it come in 50-gallon jug?
I do really recommend it. I just think it's one of those things. I'm not sure, but I looked it up. Apparently, they really don't know for sure because they haven't done studies on it. But the belief is by the people, particularly in the Caribbean, that it's got all these health benefits to it. So have you got it already?
Yeah, I started 3 days ago. Good. So yeah, it's very nutrient. It's a super nutrient.
Yeah. Well, we got it. Good morning,
hopefully, I usually do stuff for like 30 days and then see if there's a difference or not.
Yeah. I don't know if you really, guys, ever try MMA training, mixed martial arts? Is that training? I have not. You have. Well, you've done similar stuff, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been boxing since I was a child and then doing the Filipino martial arts. I wrestled in high school. So, but my thing is, I don't care what you do, just do something. And I really firmly believe in today's world, I sent out an internal note to all of our guys, so to speak, that you got to stay mentally sharp, you got to stay physically sharp. And that means eating right, working out, and doing some type of combative. I don't care if it's boxing, if it's BJJ, if it's Muay Thai, because two things: it's healthy for you, it's exercise, and it could help you out of a jam. Hopefully you don't get into the jam, but it could help you out of a jam for sure.
And it's that old thing too, where if you train like that, you you now know that you're trained to defend yourself. You feel much more confident about yourself, and you don't get in confrontations because of the way you carry yourself. Most people are going to look at it and say, I'm going to stay away from that guy, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's 100% true. And like we've discussed before, it's better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war. Yeah.
Like that. What is that other saying where soft times create hard men? No, or is it no? Hard times create hard men create soft times create soft men. Kind of
the other one I really like is the more you sweat, the less you bleed.
The more you sweat, less you bleed. I like that one.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Yeah. It's a great, a couple of great sayings too. I've gotten stuck on TikTok here. Right? They've got these motivational things to keep going. It's from a movie, I think. The guy goes, "Why?" He says, "Why? Because I can. And if I can, I effing do."
Yeah. So my buddy Jeff, I think I mentioned Jeff before. He's a real great friend. He's superior athlete, and he's kept a book of quotes because he's really big into quotes,
Yeah.
And I told him the story of Max McNabb, who was the first GM of the Devils, was telling me one night. He said, his first pro job was in San Diego and the internationally with I guess it was the Gulls, San Diego Gulls, and he had been in the Montreal home locker room during an All-Star game one year, and you got all the sign, you passed the torch and very inspirational stuff and get you jacked up. He said, I knew I was in trouble when I walked into our locker room. And the only sign in the whole entire locker room was a no smoking sign. So he said, I knew it was going to be a long year. Yeah.
That's funny. Speaking of signs, I got to figure out, you've probably seen it. There's a Navy SEAL that actually got shot years ago, and he was in his hospital. And I guess people coming in crying, poor me. So he made this sign. I'll never forget. It's an orange sign and handwritten on it. I got to dig it out. I've got it stored away someplace, but he's got, do not, if you're entering this room with negativity and crying, please exit now. And then it goes on and on. He's talking about how this is a room of positivity. I will walk again. It's just a matter of time. And it was so, I got to post it. It's fantastic. It really gets you pumped up. And,
was he shot? And I don't mean to be, but was he shot in the face as well?
I think so. Yes.
Jason Redmond. He's going to be at the swim.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
He's going to be there?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Oh, I've watched the video on him too. Yeah.
He's going to be there. Frank Silla from Tunnel Towers is going to be there. Yeah, we got a bunch of.
So have you seen that poster? You must have seen that poster then.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's classic. I'm thinking on it. I keep saying I'm going to find it.
There's if you go on YouTube, Sean Ryan has a podcast called Vigilance Elite, and he interviews, and these are 2-3 hour interviews. They're great. You got to watch them over time, but all tier 1 guys. And he interviewed DJ Shipley, which I think everybody should watch. It's a tremendous story. But he was with Jason when Jason got wounded. Yeah, they were on the same. You're standing right next to him.
I watched the video on him talking about his injury and coming back. He was getting interviewed, or he was talking. He's a cool dude. Like, he just like that poster. I keep forgetting to get it, but it's so motivational. So instead of him feeling sorry for himself, he's lecturing everybody. Don't come in this room if you're going to be crying. Right?
Yeah. Well, it's like probably one of the most incredible stories I read was William Baugh. It's spelled, and I suggest everybody read his book. It's called Hunting the Jackal. His last name is spelled Baugh. He was enlisted, went to Korea, came home, transitioned out, was in the post office. He said, I can't do this. He went back in. Long story short, went to Vietnam, became a Green Beret, and then after his military career, worked for the CIA. In fact, he went to Afghanistan when he was 72 years old as a CIA combatant with Special Forces. And he said it got to be where everybody was like, hey, look at, and he said, listen, I'm not a museum piece. Let's go to battle here, right? Because everybody would say, this guy's 72 and he's here. And his story is tremendous for so many reasons, but he got really wounded badly in Vietnam. He was shot up both legs. He took a shot to the head. And when he woke up, he was naked because the enemy stripped him. They took his Rolex and they just left him there to die, and he lived. So he goes back to Walter Reed, and he had, unfortunately, a lot of infections from the wounds. You got to remember, this is like 1969 or 68. So he convinces the doctors, listen, I could rest and take the antibiotics at home better than I'll be more comfortable. So doctor writes him a permission to go back home. He doesn't go home. He gets on a plane, flies straight to Saigon, gets off a plane. Did I tell you this story?
Yeah, it's classic. Keep going. It's
yeah, classic. No, he gets off the plane and goes into this bar and he runs into some Green Berets. But it's like he's still like hobbled and I have to remind myself of those kinds of stories when Netflix isn't working. I get pissed off. Like, does it really
Yeah,
matter?
I know. Is that true? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when we got Sandy hit us, Hurricane Sandy. I didn't have power for a week. And at first I was like, oh God, this sucks. And then I thought to myself, okay, it's a week. It's no power. Like, people live their whole lives with no power, right? In some places. And that's my concern. Yeah, I got to tell you, like, I know you're the same way, but since I've learned more and gone through this whole journey, like the True Grit Life stuff, I realized, like I said, this whole thing with the air conditioning is it's not that big of a deal.
The
right?
test.
Yeah.
No air conditioning. Then you got to take a cold shower too.
Oh, I know. Those cold showers are good.
Now you look forward to it, right?
That's true too. So if anybody doesn't know, we were a bunch of sickos with the cold showers. So we practiced. So you just have a nice warm shower, get yourself all cleaned off, and stand in that warm water for a while. You get nice and comfortable, and then it's both very healthy for you. Doesn't it help your immune system too? When blast
absolutely.
cold?
Yeah.
Oh man,
There's a lot of health benefits.
Yeah.
The guy you want to
go ahead.
No, the guy you want to read or watch on YouTube is Wim Hof. It's spelled Wimhof. He's Dutch, and he's the expert on this.
Yeah. And just getting you out of your comfort zone too, right? Because when you first do it, it's like you don't have one of those things you don't have to do.
Right.
But you do it to yourself. And after a while, it kind of gets you pumped up, right? It's like, okay, I'm looking forward to this now. But that cold water's coming. Oh man.
And when it hits, you're like, it's not so bad.
Yeah. But you train yourself. Don't make a big deal about it. Don't make a big just stand there.
That big breath.
Yeah, that's true. All right, brother. Good to see you again. Tan's getting
always
better all the time. You Cuban. So you're a Cuban.
Not like not cigar, but Cuban.
Right.
Yeah. So 2 weeks we're on the water.
That's right. Thank you for reminding me. That's right. It's already that. Yeah. So August 6th. Again, our great friend and we admire him totally. Bill Brown, former Navy SEAL guy. Came up with the concept for the swim across the Hudson. So August 6th will be happening this year. We'll be at Liberty State Park in New Jersey. Mark will let us know the time as we get closer.
As we look at it right now, Tom, they're going to get in the water at noon.
Okay.
So there's one more. Excuse me. There's one more dial-in swim next Monday. In fact, if I'm on the water, maybe we'll do the show from the water.
Oh, cool. That'd be excellent. Yeah.
But either way, so it's right now. It looks like noon. Yeah.
Right. So again, that changes based on the tides, so they won't know that until we get closer to the event. And again, I can't tell you enough what a fantastic Bill Brown again came up with the concept. Mark does a ton of work setting it all up. So there's two. Just so everybody's clear, there's a ceremony at Liberty State Park, which is fantastic. To pre-buy about 200 guys this year, guys and girls, participating in the event. They get down to do push-ups again. So it's 22 average of 22 suicides every day amongst veterans. So in honor of that, they do 22 pull-ups on the first bars, 22 pull-ups on the second bars,
and 100 push-ups as well.
Right. And then 22 push-ups or 22 pull-ups when they get to Lower Manhattan. Fantastic event. I can't say enough. If you can get to both, it's great. The event at Liberty State Park where they have some speeches and ceremonies and stuff is just, oh man, if you don't get tears in your eyes and goosebumps, there's something wrong with you. And so they'll then swim in 2 bars. They get to Lower Manhattan. They do it all over again. And the site in Lower Manhattan too, you get all these Navy SEAL guys just jacked, little shorts on. They get the flag over the shoulder. The bagpipes going in Lower Manhattan. It's just, man, it's fantastic.
There's going to be guys swimming with flags this year. Some SEALs are going to actually swim with a flag.
Very cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. It's funny. We've talked about this before, but it's not a race. It's just to get across. But these are all type A personalities, right? They're the type A of type A, and everything's a challenge, right? Everything's contest.
Well, I don't want to talk out of school, but we had a Zoom meeting Friday and just going over logistics. And there's a woman who's doing some of the logistics in terms of, the basic, like registration when they get there, where to sign in and stuff like that. And she wanted to put up like rows, and Bill said, no.
Oh.
No. Very politely, very, very, very politely said no. The military would call that a choke point. And he said, in addition, a choke point.
Oh.
So you're impeding the progress of whatever mission is. That's a choke point, right? By making them stand in line. And he said also, you're going to have a whole bunch of guys hyped up for the swim who are not going to want to stand in line.
Yeah. It was funny last year because there just wasn't enough police to monitor everybody in the waters to make sure they were safe. So they came by and said, okay, you got to wait at the second bars for everybody to get on it before you can finish the swim. And the guys were not happy at all about that.
Right. But, to the whole, what I'm learning and you're learning as well, is that their way of doing things is the right way.
Totally. Yeah.
So when Bill explained everything, it made sense. And, Bill's biggest concern, whether it's the swim or Friday night when I've got a bus taking guys over to the Mets game and some other events, control and command. He wants to know where everybody is and everybody's, it's impressive.
Yeah, you told me that before, that they give them some options or something. So, nope, no options. This is what we're doing.
Yeah, just what we're doing. Yeah.
You know what? And in all walks of life, I think that's important too. I'll never forget when Herbie Brooks first came in to coach us with the Rangers. And we, a bunch of veteran guys there and everything. And he walked in that room. I will never forget that first meeting. He knew exactly what the schedule was for the entire season, for our practice schedule. He had Jack Blatherwick, our buddy, with all the training, when we were going to skate, when we weren't going to skate. He knew exactly how he wanted everybody to play, what positions were going to be, everything. And when you left the room, you felt like, okay, I guess we're set. That's it. I think it just gives everybody that,
comfort level. Yeah, comfort level. This guy's got it. He knows now we just got to do it. We just got to execute.
Yeah, Bill's good. He's good.
And that's
I know I told the story. Our friend, is it Nancy Bachman?
Chris Bachman.
I'm sorry, Chris. If you're watching, I apologize. So she had gotten hypothermia, and I was one of the few people on the boat with a shirt because they're all swimming. So I gave her my shirt to women, and they got her all. She was so sweet, and she had said, make sure you remind me to give you your shirt back. So Bill Brown came over. We're all helping get her off the boat and everything like that. And I said, listen, you have the shirt. It's a t-shirt. She says, no, I want to make sure I give it back to you. So I just said to her, I said, do you want me to take the shirt back now? He goes, nope, I'll get you another shirt. And I felt like explaining myself, just looked like I was being a jerk. And he's a great guy. Bill, it's just, that's the way he is. He takes control of the situation.
It's amazing too, going back to what we were talking earlier about not knowing people, right? Yeah. So it turns out Chris is a tremendous athlete. She does all kinds of marathons and running and all. And then Monty Heath, he was one of the SEALs that, remember, we all kind of surrounded her with body heat because she had hypothermia. He and Rhonda, remember Rhonda Vitier? I'm probably saying her name. I think Vitier is probably pronounced that way. She's a Greenwich girl. She lives in Greenwich here. Correct. And it turns out, she very humble, super, super, beautiful personality. She's like a super accomplished person. Yeah. I mean, she's got a thing going in Africa where she's got these girls running, and she's always globe traveling and very accomplished woman. Yeah. And her and Monty just rode bicycles across the country to raise money. Is that right? They rode from LA all the way. Yeah, that's cool. They just did that early in the summer.
You talk about people living life all out. Yeah,
and Rhonda just ran the triathlon yesterday in New York.
Oh, is that right? Huh?
Yeah, or was it Saturday? I don't know which day, but this weekend. Yeah. So it's great. I mean, there's some super, super people. And you and I are just so fortunate to be a part of it and get to meet some people.
It's fantastic. It just makes you realize, just keep going. These people are, like I said before, being around the SEALs, and listen, everybody's different. I'm not trying to say that everyone is exactly the same, but they want to learn all the time too. I've learned from them how to learn. They have a conversation with you. They dig in deep. They're paying attention. They're listening to it. We should do a show then. Get our buddy Kenny Big B Jr. back on again. Do another show before.
Yeah.
Let's do that. It's a classic guy he is. Well, if you guys want to follow somebody that's inspirational too, Kenny Big B Jr. is on Facebook. I believe he's bigger, right?
Facebook. He's on Instagram. He's also, go to his website. I just Google Kenny Big B. It's Bigbee Jr.
He's classic. I know I've told the story too. We were having a conversation, and I told him about in hockey we have this term called closing the gap, and I said I believe that's the way you should live your life. If there's a problem, close your gap. And every time I see him, he goes, that's unbelievable. He started thinking about it. I can tell, and that's what I mean. These guys, they pay attention to the conversation because they think they're going to have an opportunity to learn something. It doesn't matter who they're talking to. So, pretty cool guys. Yeah. All right, there's Stud Muffin.
Have a great day.
Tan Man. See you next week.